Today, I'm going to explore an alternative to profit from the current Bitcoin bull market. The good thing about this alternative is that it doesn't involve buying or selling any crypto, so you don't need to get your hands dirty with that. Instead, it uses a traditional finance instrument such as options contracts. I'm not going to explain what's an option contract here, but I'll leave the Investopedia definition here for a second so that you can read it. There are a bunch of publicly traded companies that have bought Bitcoin with part of the cash they had sitting in their treasury. The most notable ones that we know of are MicroStrategy, Marathon Payton Group, Riot Blockchain, Square, and Tesla. Of these, Square and Tesla have a very large market capitalization that is linked to the main activities of these companies, payment processing and car manufacturing respectively. This means that whilst their price might go up or down with Bitcoin sometimes, the level of correlation with Bitcoin price movements is not as big. If we look at the other three, MSTR, Mara, and Riot, they have a smaller market cap to start with and a higher percentage of Bitcoin holdings relative to their market cap. In practice, what that means is that the correlation between their stock price and Bitcoin price is much higher. So these are stocks that can be used as an alternative to owning Bitcoin. They act in practice as a Bitcoin ETF. I'm going to take Mara as an example purely because their current stock price makes it a lot easier to enter the market with a smaller investment, especially when compared to MSTR, which trades at over $700 per share. Here's some observations about Mara. Their main business activity is already related to Bitcoin. They buy Bitcoin mining equipment and set up mining rigs. On top of that, they bought a significant amount of Bitcoin, around 4,800 Bitcoins, valued at $150 million at the time when they were bought. This was equivalent to about 10% of their market cap when it was bought. What's the relationship between Mara's price and Bitcoin? Since the start of the Bitcoin bull cycle after the last halving in May 2020, Mara's stock price has been highly correlated with Bitcoin's price. But if we look at different time frames, we see the following. Since July 2020, Mara's stock price has risen about 5x more than Bitcoin. Since November 2020, Mara's stock price has risen about 4x more than Bitcoin. And since January 21st, Mara's stock price has risen about 1.5x more than Bitcoin's price. If we look at the risk return relative to Bitcoin, we see that Mara's Sharpe ratio since March 2020 is 3.39, and Bitcoin's Sharpe ratio since March 2020 is 3.05. Both Mara and Bitcoin have excellent risk return rates above 3, but Mara's is better. The Sharpe ratio helps understand the return of an investment compared to its risk. So the price of Mara is correlated to Bitcoin, but Mara has higher average returns and a higher Sharpe ratio than Bitcoin. Interesting. Should this trend continue and should the correlation remain the same, Mara should be able to magnify the returns of Bitcoin by between 1.5x and 5x. In other words, if Bitcoin doubles in price from here, Mara could triple or more. Considering all this, you could simply buy Mara stock and sit. That would be one option. Another option, to increase returns even more, could be to buy Mara option contracts which are leveraged by default, because they give the buyer the option to buy or sell 100 shares of the underlying stock. A smart way to play this would be to buy Mara call options when Bitcoin price dips. We know that during Bitcoin bull markets there are price corrections of between 20 to 30%. Mara's stock price is highly correlated to Bitcoin, but it moves more both up and down than Bitcoin. So buying Mara during a Bitcoin dip is an excellent opportunity. So here's my options play from the latest Bitcoin dip. First, buy Mara at the money or slightly in the money long-term call options that expire on the 21st of January 2022 to capture the Bitcoin bull cycle in full. I bought mine with a strike price of $22 towards the end of February, with Mara trading at around $26 at the time. The cost was $1,850 per contract. Here's the potential returns of this play with different Bitcoin scenarios at different times. With Bitcoin reaching 70k by the 1st of June 2021, Mara's stock price would range between 42.9 and 82.3, and the January 22 call options would be between 65% and 260% in profit. With Bitcoin reaching 100k by the 1st of October 2021, Mara's stock price would range between $66 and $162, and the January 22 call options would range between 160% and 660% profit. With Bitcoin reaching 200k by the 1st of December 2021, Mara's stock price would range between $146 and $428, and January 22 call options would range in between 574% and 2,095% profit. And here's how they compare to buying Bitcoin at the same dip. If you had invested $1,850 at the end of February, you would have $8,100 if Bitcoin reaches 200k. If you had bought $1,850 worth of Mara's shares at the end of February, you would have in between $10,400 and $30,500 if Bitcoin reaches 200k. And if you had bought a Mara January 22 $22 call option, you would have in between $12,400 and $40,600 if Bitcoin reaches 200k by the beginning of December 2021. Mara options have the chance of beating Bitcoin's performance by between 1.7x and 6.2x, depending on how much Mara's stock price outperforms Bitcoin's price. The original snapshot from the options calculator in Google Sheets give you an idea of how these would play out by the time we reach the expiration date. You could also try out other option strategies for this same play, other than buying long calls. But because of the nature of the asset that we're tracking here, Bitcoin, I would recommend bullish option plays that don't have a cap in how much profit they can generate. So not recommending bull put spreads or short puts or anything that has a capped upside potential. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is not investment advice, but an idea of how you can profit from Bitcoin's current bull cycle without having to buy Bitcoin. If you would like to see more ideas like this one, subscribe and like the video. Thank you for watching.